It's pretty cool. Okay, it's pretty cool if this works with my jacked microphone here, but the computer's over there and it's recording. Yeah, it's great. So welcome to your first geometry review, chapter 1. Find the length of BC. B sits at what?
-8.
-8. And C sits at?
-1.
How many spaces is it between -8 and -1?
7.
Now, does anybody know why it is not -7?
Because it's impossible to have -7 spaces in between.
Okay. Distance is always positive, and if you think of the distance formula, that's why when we take the differences, we square it. So we're always dealing with positive numbers. Even if you go backwards, you're still going a distance. If you go a mile backwards, you still traveled a distance of a mile. Number 2. Okay, what postulate are we using here to solve this? What's it called? In the back with the yellow bandana. You raise your hands.
Oh, you use the you have to equal the numbers.
What postulate are we using? Okay, we want to know what it's called. Yes.
Segment addition postulate.
Segment addition postulate. So, oh my gosh, why is this not working? 4x plus 8 plus 27 is equaling. Oh my gosh. I'm going to set this microphone here and hope it kind of hears me. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to add the 8 and the 27, which gives me what? 35?
Yeah.
And I'm subtract 4x from both sides. That gives me
2x.
So x equals 17.5. Okay. They want the distance of CE, and CE is represented by 6x. So 6 times 17.5 is C. Well, it's not C, it's 105, but yes, that's actually C. I know what you meant. Okay. Number 3. What vocabulary word are they testing that we know here, really? Midpoint. And what does midpoint mean?
Halfway.
Middle, so it's going to break the line segment into what? In half, into 2 congruent parts. So if you need a little drawing, they're saying segment JL, and the midpoint is K. So they're telling us that JK is 6x, I love it. And KL is 3x plus 3. Okay? So that means 6x is equal to 3x plus 3. If I subtract 3x from both sides, I get 3x equals 3, x equals 1. So, JK, 6 times 1 is 6. KL is also 6. And 6 plus 6 is 12. So the answer is B. Okay, moving on. What concept are we testing in number 4? Yeah.
Angle bisection.
Okay, it's not angle bisector because they don't tell us that it breaks it in half. We're testing what? Angle addition postulate. So this large angle is 57 degrees. It's made up of 2 smaller angles. IJK, which is 20. And, IJL, which is 20, and IJK, which we don't know. So if I subtract 20 from both sides, x is equal to
37.
And that's what we wanted us to find, right? IJK. How do we know it's not -37?
Because you can't have a negative degree.
You can't have a negative degree, you can't have a negative angle. Okay? And number 5, what are we testing here?
Angle bisector.
Angle bisector. So ABC on your scrap paper, like when you're taking the test, you may want to draw some pictures. And BD is the bisector. So ABD, that's that's this angle here, right? I almost said that's the big angle, but it's not. 7x minus 1. And DBC is 4x plus 8.
Yay.
So since they bisect, they're equal. And since this is a bisector, they're equal. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, and I get 3x over here. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I get 9. Okay? So x equals 3. Why is 3 not the correct answer?
Because you have to plug it into the equation.
Because you have to plug it in. They want us to find ABD. 7 times 3 is
21.
Minus 1 is
20.
Okay, now I'm going to stop the number 6. Find the measure of the complement of m. Complement means they're going to add to what? 90. So 90 minus 31.1 should be 58.9, correct?
Yeah.
That one should have been kind of simple. Now we got a little tricky. Number 7, find the measure of the supplement of R, where the measure of angle R is represented by this. So if I have an angle and I have a supplement, they're going to equal 180, correct?
Yeah.
And for angle R, they want me to substitute the measure of angle R with 8z plus 10. So like I talked about literal equations yesterday on the challenge, all we're doing now, I know I said all we're doing, is rewriting this equation for S. That means we want to move this 8z and the 10 to the other side of the equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 10 from both sides. And I get 8z plus S equals 170. Now I'm going to subtract 8z from both sides. S equals 170 minus 8z. And the question and answer is A. For the next problem, you have to remember how to find the perimeter and the area of a figure. How do you find perimeter? In the back, one of you answer.
Me?
Either one.
Okay. And all these sides of the
Triangle, or any shape, okay? So we're going to add up all the sides of the shape. X plus 6x is 7x. 6 plus 8 is 14. That's the way to write the perimeter. Can you get an actual number?
No.
No, you can't go into Home Depot and say, I have a triangular shaped backyard. I need 7x plus 14 length of fencing. Can't do that, okay? But we can write it as an expression. Now, how do you find area of a triangle?
BH,
Base
half
times
of
height.
BH.
Okay, so you can either do half of BH or BH divided by 2. I'm going to do both of those. So I'm first going to do BH divided by 2. That means I'm going to have 6 times x plus 8. Because that's the base and that's the height. 6 times x is
6x.
and 6 times 8 is
48.
Now I divide both of those terms by 2. 3x plus 24. Perimeter is 7x plus 14. Perimeter is 3x plus 24. Question in the back?
Yeah, you did 6 parentheses x. Isn't it supposed to be 6 parentheses 6x?
No. Okay, good. The base is x plus 8. That's the height.
And what happened to the 6x?
That's not a base or a height. That's a hypotenuse. We're not dealing with that. Okay? So you also could have done, means you can actually do these in any order. So you could actually say, oh, well, 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 8 is 24, and you could do 1/2 base times height in that order. So either way works. Do we understand number 8? Number 9. We're going to find the coordinates of the midpoint. So we have C and M. Could you probably figure this out from the drawing? Yes. But I want you to actually be able to do it. So you need to remember, the formula is you're going to add the x coordinates together and divide by 2 to find the average. You're going to add the y coordinates together and divide by 2. 1 plus 7 is
8.
and 8 divided by 2 is
4.
Negative 6 plus 5 is,
Negative 1.
and negative 1 divided by 2 is
Negative 1/2.
negative 0.5 or negative 1/2. So the answer is C. Got that?
Yes.
Now, there's 2 different ways to do number 10. I'm going to do both. First, I'm going to do the little journey way because I think that's easier. So, if A is at negative 6, negative 6, and M is the midpoint, okay? Now I want to find N. I want to find X and Y. So, let's look here. Starting off. To get from negative 6 to 1, I'm taking X and I'm doing what?
Adding 7.
Adding 7. So now I'm going to take X, which is now 1, and add 7 again. And what number do I get to? 8. Now, and that's a negative 6 also, right? So for Y, I'm at negative 6 and I go to 2. What did I do?
Adding.
I added 8.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you're going the wrong way, just
Yeah.
make care. So now, Y is 2 plus another 8 takes me to
10.
10. So the answer is 8, 10. If I want to do it with a formula, negative 6 plus whatever the other endpoint is, which we're calling X, divided by 2. So if I take the 2 endpoints, one of them I don't know, and I divide by 2, the midpoint is going to be 1. And I know that because that's what they told me. And then for the other one, negative 6 plus Y divided by 2 equals 2. Yes, question? Okay. So now I'm going to solve these. Negative 6 plus X divided by 2 equals 1. So negative 6 plus X has to equal 2, right? I add 6 to both sides, X equals 8. For the other one, negative 6 plus Y divided by 2 equals 2. I multiply 2 by both sides. Negative 6 plus Y equals 4. I add 6 to both sides. Y equals
10.
10. So either way I do it, I get the correct answer. Here's PR equals 16.9. And RS equals 14.9. They want the length of the entire PS. So we have the 16.9 and the 14.9. Shenanigans in the back.
D.
D, 31.8. He knows why he's shenanigans. Okay. QT is point. Oh, Q, is that T?
Yeah.
So the whole thing,
No, that's V.
oh, that's V, I can't read the
Wait,
screen.
what?
See?
No, it's the right endpoint is V.
This is Q.
Yeah, that's T. And the last one is V.
Okay, see, it's too blurry and I can't see them up. QT is 0.4. Q to V, the entire thing is 1.9. So what is T to V?
D.
D, 1.5.
That's correct.
For number 13, we have to know the distance formula. If you don't know the distance formula, you're not going to get the question right. Yes, sibling of my son's first girlfriend. What is the distance formula?
Do I put the numbers in or just tell you?
Just tell me like the letters and the symbols.
Okay.
So like
Okay,
x,
x2 minus x1
parentheses or quantity squared,
squared plus y2 minus y1.
parentheses. So now, yeah, oh, here's a question. Sure, he's gonna bring his paper up to me, which you're not gonna be able to see. He probably like described a circle and he's like solving a radius.
Go, because I tried to do it this way.
Yes, you can using the Pythagorean Theorem. That's the enrichment activity. We'll talk about that later. Or we'll talk about it. Yeah, I'll do it in the video here. I'll show you what you're asking.
Yes.
So, x2 minus x1 is what?
4 minus
4 minus 2, which is,
2. 2.
and 2 squared is,
4.
I'm just saving myself some time.
Okay.
y2 minus y1 is,
Well, it's 49 when you square.
yeah, I think it's negative 7, and then you square it, it's 49. 4 plus 49 is the square root of 53. Now, since radical 53 is there, that is the most correct answer. You pick it. If 53 was not there, and it said 8, and I said which answer is closest, the square root of 53 is approximately 7.2. It's closest to 7. Some kids said, oh, I thought I was supposed to put square root of 53 into a calculator and then take the square root. It was 7.2 something, and 7.2 something wasn't there, so I picked 7. So I want to make sure you understand. Now, if you had looked at your learning scale and rubric, you would have seen that a level 4, hold on, let me try and take the microphone with me. A level 4 is explain the relationship between the distance formula and the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to point out here, and this is what the child from the back was asking is he went ahead and drew a line here, and made a right triangle. And since this to here is a length of 2, and this to here is a length of 7, he used the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared.
That's so hard.
2 squared is 4 plus b squared.
Oh my god. That was another Which does not always work.
Okay,
What's c?
so 53 equals c squared. C equals the square root of 53. I'm going to explain this. It always works because that's what the distance formula is actually doing. x2 minus x1. You're actually creating a line here and taking that length, right?
Yeah.
And then you're squaring it. So you're getting a squared. Plus y2 minus y1, you're finding the length of what would be this side of the triangle, which in this case was 7, and you're squaring it. Okay? You're adding them together. In this case, it would have been 53, but that c, that's the hypotenuse squared, and to get the square root of that, to get from this to this, that's the mathematical symbol. That's the algebraic notation. So it will always work. Now, I want you to understand how to use the distance formula because sometimes you don't have these on a graph and it's difficult to be able to make the triangle. But the accelerated version, if you said, how do I want to be the kind of kid who not just gets an A in geometry honors, but can really take my knowledge to the next level, that would be an example of how you were doing it in this chapter, okay? And the other one, which we will try on, I'm gonna actually I'll give you a heads up, it's on the video now. It's actually gonna be for homework on Tuesday, is to see if you can theorize a way to find a point on a line segment that partitions a segment into a ratio other than 1 to 1. We've been using midpoint to break a segment into 2 equal parts, right? What if I asked you to find the point where it breaks it from 1 to 4, or 3 to, break it into 5 equal places and you go 3/5 of the way along the line, okay? Or 7/8 of the way along the line. We're gonna learn how to do that in chapter 2, okay? Do we understand problem number 13 here now?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a long description, but that's okay.
Is there gonna be another one?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave those bells in this video. What, dear? Is there another one left?
A bell?
There is during 4th period, did you notice that?
No.
What do you have for 4th period?
Miss Carol.
Pay attention. So, we're gonna do the same thing here. Okay? What is the change in these x values? Guys, did you do number 14?
Yeah.
I did.
What's the change in the x values?
5.
5 squared is,
25.
25.
that also means if I drew a line here, that's gonna be 5 units long? Okay. What's the change in y?
Negative. Well, first negative and square root is 9.
Okay, and squared is 9. So 25 plus 9 is,
34.
now guys, you remember, you have to add them and then take the square root. You can't say, oh, the square root of 25 is 5 and the square root of 9 is 3, right? So, square root of 34. Square root of 34 is going to be close to 6, but a little bit less than 6 in reality, correct? How was I able to do it that quickly? How did I know that I'm going to get probably 5.7 or something? Yes, go.
Because 6 times 6 is 36.
6 times 6 is 36, 5 times 5 is 25. So I know it's going to be a little bit closer to
If
6.
someone on the test put 6 because they thought you were supposed to do it, would you mark it wrong?
Yes, it would be wrong, okay? Because the square root of 34 is the exact. I'm not actually going to record number 15. I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to tell you right now, in case you need to check it on the video and you forget, the answer is 140. But I want you to take your protractors and measure that angle so you know what you're doing. For 16 and 17. So for number 16, they're talking about angle 1. Even though you won't know exactly what that angle measures, you should at least be able to realize it's acute, right? So given the answer choices, it could be 66 degrees, and it could be 71 degrees, but 66 says obtuse. And is 66 degrees obtuse?
No.
So it has to be D,
Cute.
71 acute. Now, we discussed FGB yesterday. The answer to FGB is 84 acute, but I understand the way that's drawn and turning the paper. It's a little bit hard to tell if it's less than 90 or more than 90. So if it's that close on the test, I don't remember what it is, but if it is, I will give you the answer. Because I do understand that that one's a little bit more difficult to see. If they had given it to you straight up and down, you could tell whether it's acute or obtuse. But the way it's turned, it's a little bit difficult. Number 18. I had a student yell at me last year about number 18. And coincidentally, he didn't do the review. So, GK bisects FGH. So that means that this angle and this angle are going to be equal in measure, correct? Notice that there's an X there. That means angle FGK is equal to X. So down here when it says 3v minus 4 and 2v plus 7, find X, they're not asking you to find the variable, they're asking you to find the measure of angle FGK. Okay? So don't mess that up. If FGK and KGH are congruent, then 3v minus 4 is equal to 2v plus 7. When I subtract 2 v's from both sides, I get v equals, now I'm going to add the 4 to both sides also. But are they asking me to find v?
No.
They're asking me to find x, and that's why the kid was yelling at me. He's like, I think it should say v. And I said, I told you how to do it on the when we reviewed it. And he said, well, I wasn't paying attention. And I said, I'm sorry. Then he got mad. So, I have to plug the 11 back in to 3v minus 4. 3 times 11 is
33.
minus 4 is
29.
Okay, thank you whoever was yawning. Okay, so we understand how that's right. Somebody is going to yell at me. We say there's a typo on the test. It's going to happen at some point. So far we only have 2 students that have been absent all day. And if it's one of them, and they're going to say, well, I wasn't here for the review, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, you should have watched the video. Okay.
Right.
No names. We're on YouTube.
Copyright.
Okay.
No
What did I say?
So, now, for number 19, they're talking about the same drawing. But now FGK is 7W plus 3. And FGH is 104. That's the whole big thing, is 104. It was explained to me in second period that when I did this problem in study hall on Thursday, I did it wrong. So don't listen to what I did in study hall on Thursday. This is an angle bisector. That means FGK is 1/2 of FGH. So if it's 1/2, what's 1/2 of 104?
52.
So 7W plus 3 equals 52. Subtract 3 from both sides. 7W equals 49. W equals 7. I will be the first to admit, if I was a student in this class, I would get an A, I would not get 100%. Okay? So I messed it up evidently on study hall on Thursday. Somebody could say, oh, Mrs. Falk. And I could say, oh, well then I could have not done study hall on Thursday, forget about all the other problems I did correctly, right? I'm allowed to do that. So, moving on to number 20. Number 20 is find the measure of y. The measure of y is 6 more than 3 times its complement. So, that means I have an angle x, and I have an angle y, and they're going to add up to how many degrees? 90. Now we want to find y. Y is 6 more than. Now when I write equations and expressions, I always put my addition and subtraction after my multiplication or division. Because that way, by default, I'm writing an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay? Also, when we get to the next one, when we deal with subtraction, you don't mess it up. Okay, so 3 times its complement. So now do you understand how I got y, which is a supplement, is 6 more than 3 times the complement? Now I'm going to use substitution. Instead of this y in x plus y equals 90, I'm going to substitute 3x plus 6. Hopefully the color coding helps out a little bit. If you're dropping protractors on the floor, maybe you should try to just leave them on the computer and not touch them, and then they won't fall. I realize you do not hear protractors fall on the floor, but I do, and it's well, because somebody's watching the YouTube video at home. Well, not right now, but they will be. Okay, so do you understand how I got that substitution?
Yes.
X plus 3x is
4x.
plus 6 equals 90. If I subtract 6 from both sides, 4x equals what?
84.
So x equals 21. But remember, you wanted y. If x is 21, y is 69. Okay, we got that one? Question?
The thing I was confused at first though, when you started the equation, was that I thought like when you put x, you were talking about the x and the angle, but because I was confused because it wasn't like a 90-degree angle.
Okay, no, I'm saying that x plus y is 90. Does that, you got it?
I know, but I meant that like you were saying that the x as in FGK was the complement.
Okay, no, sorry. This now, these two go for this drawing. This one is now completely different.
Oh, that's
Sorry
what
about
you
that,
were
okay.
talking
So,
about.
okay, so now you know also, that means that when you're looking at the review, at the test, these two go for this one. This is a whole new problem, okay? That means that probably on your quiz, there's probably two that go with this drawing. I never even realized that, but I totally see how you could get confused. Question?
So the y's cancel out.
No, they don't cancel out, it's substituted. They would cancel out if I,
3x plus 6.
okay, got that? And for 21, the measure of an angle supplement is 24 less than twice the measure of the angle. So I'm dealing with an angle and a supplement. And they need to equal how much? Supplement, 180. Now, when I do other problems, I've used x and y. But on this problem, because I'm assuming that you've read through most of these, if not all of them, you have to find the measure of an angle and its supplement. And if you notice, the multiple choice answers are just opposites of each other. So you have to keep straight which one is the original angle and which one is the supplement. So now they say the measure of an angle supplement. So we're talking about the measure of the supplement is, that means equal, 24 less than twice the measure of the angle. When there's addition and subtraction, I always put that as the second term in the equation. So 24 less is minus 24, 2 times the measure of the angle. And I get in this habit, and I'll talk with you about it later in the year also, because I have this thing called magic boxes. But I get in this habit because that way I'm writing an equation always in slope-intercept form. You could have written negative 24 plus 2a, but now you're not in slope-intercept form. So I think it's just a good habit to always write equations in either slope-intercept form, standard form, or point-slope form. Right? Now I can take this value of s and substitute it for that s, correct? So I can take a, then instead of s, I can put in 2a minus 24. And that will equal 180. Do you understand how I substituted that? Now I can solve. A plus 2a is 3a minus 24 equals 180. I can add 24 to both sides. And 180 plus 24 is, when I divide by 3, I get a is 68. If a is 68, the supplement has to be 112, and therefore I know it's C and not D. If I use x and y, I might get confused about which was the original angle, which was the supplement. Was there a question back there?
I was gonna say that even if you do X and Y, it says that the supplement is 24 less than double the.
Right,
So you can note that the angle is less, so.
right, okay. Yeah,
So if you put like D on the test, it would be wrong because the angle's not 112.
right. Correct. Okay? Also, your tests are going to get by like, definitely by chapter 4, probably maybe even by chapter 3, they're no longer multiple choice. After definitely by chapter 4, possibly chapter 3, your tests are no longer multiple choice.
So like
Oh, why? To make it more difficult. So you can't, because it's forcing you to know how to do the math, not how to do guess and check. A lot of you are getting 3 things because you guess and check. Yes, question?
When does this grading quarter end?
Okay. You know you're being recorded right now, but end of October, whenever we have early release and then a day off, I think it's like October 24th or something.
Oh.
Okay, other questions about the math? Okay, I'm gonna move on to our polygon questions. 22 has 10 sides. It's a decagon. 23 has 4 sides. It's quadrilateral. It's convex because if I take draw lines along the sides, none of them enter the interior of the polygon, correct? And it is irregular. What is the only type of regular quadrilateral?
Square.
A square. So the correct answer, quadrilateral, convex, irregular, D. 24 has 6 sides, it's a hexagon. Once again, it is convex and it is irregular. And for 25, you're given a quadrilateral. You're told that the perimeter is 72 units. To get the perimeter, you add up all the sides. When you add up all those expressions, you get 6r minus 6, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you solve, you add 6 to both sides. So 78 equals 6r. R equals 13. Then you plug 13 in for each of these. Is this r plus 8 or r minus 8? I just can't
Minus
remember.
8.
So 13 minus 8 is
5.
2 times 13 is 6. And what does the rest of this say?
35. Oh, plus 9.
Plus 9, so that's 35. 13, I think this says minus 4, is 9. And 2r minus 3 is 23. So the answer is 9. I mean, the answer is C. It starts with 9. Do you understand how to do that one? Then if you are actually at home